The Dershow.
Uninteresting, boring, and just, D- in terms of legal quality. And that is Judge Marchand's decision to turn down Trump's lawyers' request to dismiss the indictment or at least grant a new trial on the ground that evidence came in to the hush money case in New York that involved Oval Office meetings with aides while President Trump was sitting president. And the Supreme Court granted him immunity from actions that he took while president, and it also granted him immunity from the use of evidence of actions that he took while president. So what which Marchand ruled was that no, any of the actions that were designed, that were introduced into evidence were of private actions outside of his role as president. Basically what he's saying is the whole case was outside of his role as president, and therefore the Supreme Court ruling doesn't apply at all. But, then he did something else, clever, but wrong, unconstitutional. He basically said, I'm ruling, and even if I'm wrong, you can't appeal it. You can't appeal it because I'm going to be putting off the sentencing until after he finishes the presidency. And the rules in New York, you can't appeal something unless there's a sentence. So I'm not going to sentence you. And if I can't sentence you, I can't be proved wrong. So I am now above the law. I am the king. As I mentioned once before, there's an old expression in England that Her Majesty, or now His Majesty's subjects and judges are all, Majesty's subjects are all presumed to know the law, except His Majesty's judges, and that's why they have a court of appeal set above them to set them right. So an appeal is part of the legal system. And when you render judgments the way Marchand has done, and then insulate yourself from appeal, either for 4 years or forever, there's some indication that what Marchand really wants is to suspend the sentence forever and have the conviction hanging over Trump's head like a sword of Damocles, that he enters the White House and the Oval Office as a convicted felon with no opportunity to appeal. That cannot be the law in New York or federally or constitutionally. You can't convict somebody and deny them the right to appeal by withholding the sentence. So what I think will happen is, if we'll know this soon, Marchand is going to have to rule on when and whether he will sentence Trump. And if he rules that the sentencing is put off 4 years, I would surely recommend to Trump's lawyers that they take a mandamus, that is a special writ to the Appellate Division, the next court. There are 3 levels of court in New York, essentially: the Supreme Court, which is the lowest court, the Court of Appeals, which is the highest court, and the Intermediate Court, which is the New York Appellate Division. That he take a mandamus to the Appellate Division and basically argue, look, you can't have a conviction without an appeal. And so if you can't appeal under New York law because there's no sentence, there are 2 or 3 remedies. Number one, we can review the case through mandamus, and that's a possibility. And the other is you can just throw out the conviction and not allow it to occur unless there's an appeal that is permitted. And so I would expect and hope that we don't have a situation where a president of the United States is sitting as a convicted felon, 32 counts or whatever the numbers are, really one count repeated 32 times, without there being an opportunity to challenge the conviction.